It is anyone. It is all of us. It is you and me. Does it choose? No. Mental illness does not choose a pastor. Mental illness does not choose a doctor. And mental illness does not choose anyone. It does not choose a class. It doesn't. It treats us the same and it strikes us the same. So everyone is vulnerable for having a mental illness. Even children. Some people have not known that. They have never considered children as a what? As children as having feelings of frustration or of expressing themselves when they are sad. You know, even children go through depression. They go through a stress. They also suffer from mental instabilities because of, number one, the environment they live within, the family background, their upbringing, and even those people that matter in their lives. So depression has become a number one killer disease in Kenya, in the whole world. And you can bear me witness that the many cases of suicide that we hear, many of them are associated with the depression. So depression is a bad thing. And kindly, it never comes. It doesn't come. You must start with a trigger. And I want us to address our triggers. When you have a trigger that gives you stress, are you able to identify the triggers of your stress so that as early as possible, you manage your stress? When you manage your stress, you will never find yourself in depression. Because when you find yourself in depression, then now you have gone. You are gone. Now you are now suffering the illness of depression. So it starts with a small stress, and we have various types of stress. We have a very mild stress. It doesn't bother. This one, you are always aware about it, and you want to sing in the house. You want to put your highest volume in the TV. You want to close the windows and stretch your legs. You know, you are managing your stress in your own style. You want to get a verse from the book of Job to comfort you. That is a mild stress. You want to look for a friend and ask her or him, Pastor, I want to lean on your shoulders kindly. I have something that is pressing. I hope people come to you and whisper to you. That is managing simple stresses. And this is a good person who understands that I am not myself today. And let me tell you, parents who are inside here, we have our mirrors in the houses. Which mirrors are these? Zenye zinatumulika kutuambia, unaangalia hivi mirror inakwambia you are not okay. Mom, you don't look okay. Which are these mirrors? Yes? Yes? Only we women. Ni nyinyi nilijua mtajua. Our children, as you get out from your bedroom, imagine they look into you, directly into your eyes, and they tell you, Mommy, you are not yourself. Daddy, it is not you. What is it? And they don't care. Gen Z quiz, they ask, you fought last night? Daddy beat you last night? Ama mami alikupiga? Nani amekukosea? They ask. So they mirror us, wanatuangalia. And then we are there brushing them off. You know, we are brushing them off because amekuhit. And we are saying for a functional family, we must be stable, all of us. We must know how to conduct conflict resolutions in our houses. We must know how to bring on board every family member and have a kamkunji. You have a debate. You have a dialogue. You discuss. Give feedback. And always start with good feedback. Congratulate them. Congratulate your children. Tell them how they are the best. However, you finish with the however. And then give them their negative feedback. The way they call you Museveni wa Uganda. You know, they have given us names. They give us names. So what I'm saying is that mental illness is very tricky if we do not handle. So when you start with a stress and you're able to identify your trigger, you will be able to work on that so that you don't move to the next stage. And the next stage will be moderate stress. You know, moderate stress, upper, you don't sweep your house, you will not dust your house, you will not wash those utensils, you will not iron your dress, you want to walk out and you want someone to ask you, why do you look like this today? You don't want to comb your hair, you know, you are very irritable. That is now moderate. Now, you are now moving from moderate, you are now growing and graduating into severe stress. So the severe stress now, number one, hapa, you never close your eyes. Have you ever found yourself at midnight, your eyes are open up to 3 a.m.? Are you the one who sits in bed from midnight, 3 a.m., your sleep is gone? Are you the one who wants to wake up and go sit at the sitting room from 4 to 6? You want to read your Bible, you want to sing, but the eyes are open like this. That is a dangerous sign. That is now a severe stress because you are not able to sleep. You are very irritable, even including your cat. That cat that comes and sits with you on the chair there, on the sofa set. This time it is able to identify that all is not well, and that cat will not reach you. Unatumia left leg kukifukuza. But the other days, you massage it and you bring it on the sofa set. Severe stress is a bad thing. You will not eat. You will not drink water. You will be isolated. You will be living alone. You don't want to talk to anyone. And you close yourself inside a room where you don't want anyone to see you. Have you ever discovered that happened to you? That is dangerous. You need to act. Don't feel ashamed that whatever role you have, whether you are a Christian, you are what, and a position, that people should not learn, or someone should not learn that you are going through some stress-related factors. Sometimes our children have given us blood pressures. Those who have blood pressures, the pressures will increase. Some of them get admitted because of their children. Just because of that family, I don't know. Maybe it is pressures from your workplace, you have never met your deadlines, you are on the loggerheads with your boss, and you come home very bitter when your family expects you to come and have fun with them. So when you realize that you are now in the severe stress, that where you are not even going to comb your hair, then there you are now. You are now entering into that dangerous phase, the phase that now I called depression. Depression is now an illness. Depression is an illness. And what are the signs of depression? How will I know now I have entered into depression? How will you know? One, how will you know that you are entering into depression? Number one, you have no appetite. There is no meal you will admire. You want just to sleep. And you go to bed, you don't sleep. So there is no eating. You have a lot of constipation. You don't even go for short call. You don't go for long call. You have no appetite. And everything is just dark. For you, everything is dark. Then it is accompanied by isolation and withdrawal. You don't want where a group of people are. You don't want where people want you to talk. You want to be seated somewhere where someone will not appoint you. You will want to be a backbencher. If it was a meeting by force, if it is a meeting by force, you will want to be at the back. And someone makes a mistake to ask you, so and so has not contributed. You can contribute to that. You will just keep quiet. So depression, this person will start whispering to himself or herself, walking around, and then experiencing some hallucinations, feeling like people are running after him. Some want to beat him, and something comes into your mind, tells you, take away your life. And let's not even laugh or just feel like blame someone who has survived a loss of a loved one by suicide. Depression pushes people to do suicide. And you can agree with me, the numbers that are rising every day. Every day, suicide cases are rising. So what are the causes? Someone will ask me, what are the causes? What causes depression? I have said we have external factors, we have internal factors. External factors, how do you relate out there? In the workplace, in the community, at home, how do you relate with the people? You know, I have heard people say, I have had a situation where someone says that mimi kila mtu ananidharau. Mimi sipendwi. You hear someone saying, mimi sipendwi, and that is now going into low self-esteem. No one loves me, no one listens to me. So this person feels like happened. So external factors could be a source. Internal factors, of course, maybe within the family structure. Genetic factors, whereby issues of mental illness run in families. There are families that have suffered mental illness because of genealogy, generation, where they come from. Personality factors. Some of us are introverts, some of us are extroverts. An extrovert will heal. An extrovert will never think of committing suicide. But an introvert will do it very fast. So these personality traits, where we do not blame this introvert. We need to reach this person that we are aware she is an introvert. You will never know when this person is suffering, because yeye ujui ni wakati gani kuna jua, ni wakati gani kuna giza. You will never know. So what am I saying? That we need to check on one another. Be close to one another. Let's say hi to one another with good eye contact. Because our faces tell it all. It is our faces that sell us. So an introvert will never speak. But if someone has a moment and say hi, and you are aware this person never speaks, then you will be able to reach. And as you say hi, and then you confront in a therapeutic way, a lovely way. You look okay? Are you serious? You're looking okay? I'm worried about you this morning. Your face is not selling. Someone nice will tell, someone will cry out of that. Someone will just cry. You mean he has seen that my face, I'm not happy? Someone will just be pinched and feel, I see. So and so is concerned with me. In the morning, I mentioned about issues of gender-based violence. That is domestic violence. Vita vya maneno nyumbani. Vita. We are not at peace. But we must come to church because the church shouldn't discover that we fight every other day. Some of us parents here live in different rooms, and even our children know. Watoto wanajua dadi anaishi alihamia room ya wageni. Mami ndiye alibaki ile bedroom ya main ya master bedroom, mamu ndiye amebaki huko ndani. Dadi yeye alienda bedroom ya wageni. Mamu anaishi upstairs, dadi anaishi downstairs room ya wageni. Domestic violence. And our children know. They know. So we are survivors of various issues of domestic violence that can bring one to get depression. Okay, illnesses. I'm happy that I'm talking to Greater Church. You're so good, and I must also be so good. On behalf of my own family, I must be so good, and we all must be so good to you, because you have ever been so good to us. I'm happy to give you this message. Illnesses can make someone go into depression. You have acquired diabetes. Unapimwa sukari, leo imekuwa 8.9. Daktari anakuambia, ulikuwa umekula kitu. And then you say, no, I have not fed. But your sugars are 8.9. And then he puts a question mark and tells you, kindly do a recheck after 1 month or after 2 weeks. After 2 weeks you do, before you eat anything, before you get your breakfast, it has gone to 10 or 15. And the normal blood sugar should be between 5 and 8. But if you are diabetic and your sugars are between 10 and 15, we accept those ranges because already you are a diabetic. So you are diagnosed with a new disease like hypertension, and you still want to rule out Nilipimwa pressure ikakuwa juu siku moja, lakini iliisha. That is what I hear. Pastor, am I cheating? Wanasema ngaje? Sisters, ni siku ile mlinipima siku ile ilikuwa juu na nilikuwa nimekasirika na iliisha. Nilienda nikatulia ikaisha. And when we say non-communicable diseases are killing us, and the non-communicable diseases are diseases that are not transmittable. The high blood pressure cannot be transmitted to someone else. The domestic violence cannot be transmitted to someone else. The hypertension and the diabetes and the epilepsy cannot be transmitted. So NCDs, non-communicable diseases, are killing people even when they are singing. Someone falls down here, alafu tunaanza kusema ati jana waligombana na fulani, ni kama alimuendea. Imagine, tunabebesha watu wengine mizigo. Ameanguka hapa, BP iko 200/100. Na kwa hakika ni kwaya member amekuja kuimba, na ameanguka, amefaint. Then now we want to connect with the conflict they had last month that pastor managed to sort out, and it was well, and they greeted hands, and they are moving on. Sasa sisi ndio ekirambauti. So we are saying, even HIV, why should HIV kill people today? Why do you get depression because of HIV? We don't even talk about HIV these days. We are talking about cancers that are snatching our relatives, our brothers, our sisters. We are sad about the global pandemic, cancer. People dying. You test for HIV and you are still hiding at this era when we have drugs up to the dispensary level. When we have drugs up to the outpatient, you don't even take a shuttle to go and take your drugs from Kisii. You will get your drugs even in the private clinics inside here. You will get your drugs. And someone still wants to hide. Here you are fighting with the diagnosis. You are fighting with the disclosing to your family. You are fighting with whether you take drugs or not. You proceed, you get a complication. You get a cryptococcal meningitis, and someone dies for something that was treatable. At this era, someone dying because of HIV. Someone getting depression, illness because of HIV at this era. You know, we have gone civilization way. We have gone technological way. Getting a normal health checkup is good for all of us. Pastor needs members in his church. He will not be excited to preach to the chairs alone. He needs to know where the members are. Where are my members? He needs to know who is sick. They pay a visit. But not someone is sick, aende hospitali, ameambiwa shika imani. Shika imani itakuponya. I wonder when patients come to pick drugs and pastor, wanatupa kwa choo. Wanasema unajua tukikosa kliniki mtagundua atukujangi. Someone takes drugs, goes and throws them in the pit latrine and remains with the 3-4 tablets so that when they come back, they will tell you, hizi ndio nimebakisha. Because they are saying, wameenda kule kwingine kwa brothers wale wetu, sister, wamewambia washike imani. Wameteremka Mombasa huko chini pia, brother yetu wamewasaidia, wamewacha hizi. And someone is sick throughout, sickling throughout. Compliance, adherence, hakuna. Madawa hatumi. And then we will not expect this person to be mentally stable. Hata kuja kanisa, hata toka kwa nyumba. Even at home they want to hide. Pastor hata ukienda kuomba, ataki kufungua blanketi hivi muone. They now want to hide their face because they are dying with a lot of guilt, a lot of frustration. And there is power in prayer. When pastor prays, I am also busy in my medical setup, giving you drugs, counseling you, reassuring you, and, you know, collaboratively. So mental health is not a one thing. Anything can bring it. Labda you have lost a job. After COVID-19, people lost jobs. People lost jobs. Some of us, you know, we thought that being employed meant a good life. People didn't know that they could hustle, you know, that we could hustle as a civil servant, you hustle again and do something else. But imagine after COVID, people discovered they had more potentials. They could get into the market and sell their items very well. You know, with those lockdowns, With those distance, people working from home, a lot of people lost their job. And since 2020, when you lost your job, you are mentally down mpaka leo. When you lose your job, maybe your wife runs away or your man runs away, your children are there, and you see the unity of that family is disintegrated. So depression is brought by many things. Our situation in the environment. Like right now, we are all seeing what is happening. And, everyone is fighting with a question here that is not answered. You have seen the politics of the day and what has happened. People are in the hospital. It is not someone is making. It is not. Receiving sad news. You receive sad news. Receiving sad news like for a death. What do you do? I have seen them break down and get buried. I have lost a relative. I lost a relative because she lost her son, a firstborn son who was in the US. And this was her firstborn son, yes. So after the loss of the son, she never picked. She never picked even one day. She finally went to the grave because she had a complicated stress. Tunaitanga post-traumatic stress disorder. She suffered from a post-traumatic stress disorder. Then she died just because she lost someone. We have lost. We will still lose. Hatujui kesho ni ya nani. Ya jana tunajua, ya juzi tunajua, ya leo hatujui, ya kesho hatujui. And these things will continue being there. So we are saying, even in your worst situation, there are three things. You either accept that hapa nimeshindwa, Mungu wangu nibebe. Number 2, this one I must seek for dialogue. Ndio mnasikianga ile, people go for dialogue, na alafu inapokuwa nusu mkate, so wamekubaliana ni nusu mkate. That is dialogue. For those who will want that if you will benefit from dialogue, then you are taking care of your mental health. You don't get a mental illness. So kupata nusu mkate means that mumekubaliana both sides. That is just for an example. Then there is another one, you confrontation. What kind of issue are you facing? Umedrop kutoka shule. Ni mtoto wako ameshika mimba akiwa shule na unasikia umukule na meno yote. Unasikia sijui msindilie kwa choo. Kwa sababu you do not want to count. I'm speaking to my brethren. I went to a certain home. And this home, this family has 3 children. And the 2 children who have excelled are the ones identified by the family. This one, the other one, who did not succeed in his academic, but smart in other areas, super nylon, I would say super nylon, is not identified. Even during introduction, is never introduced. Are we happy for that statement? Is it okay with that? That you want to choose, you want to select, you want even to start introduction. You don't want even to start with that firstborn who is a drug addict. That is your baby. Biological, that is your baby. What is wrong introducing your son? This is my son. So and so. Ni mtoto wangu. I went to another home. And I was impressed with the mama. This is my son. Mtoto wangu hatu vile mnamuona hivi. Alitoka India. Ametoka India, is a lawyer. Lawyer amekanyaga chini. Amekunywa pombe. Amekula drugs. Hajawahi fua nguo. But ndio mama anaanza naye. Anasema, this is my son. He is so and so. This is my lawyer. Our lawyer in the house. And I felt like crying because of the love. Then she started counting the others. Do you think this mama is depressed? She's not, because she has accepted her situation. She has owned her children. As we want to disown our children, we want the best ones. The best ones ndio wasimame hapa wajulikane, na yule mwingine mwenye yeye anauza nyanya pale na hata ndiye anatusaidianga nyanya tukiwa na wageni, hasemwi. Yeye hasemwi. Then we are suffering. We are suffering because we have put in our hearts that it is a must. You want to acquire what you want to acquire, A must. If you do not acquire you, then you feel you become a failure of depression. And then now, with the depression, you will do drugs. Of course, you have to go to the ward. You have to get a treatment for several months. And life will never be the same again. Because after that, you will need a lot of rehabilitation. I'm only talking about depression because it is the killer disease that is the highest. And it is the one that is making people to commit suicide. You've had some ladies take their children, carrying her children and takes to the pit latrine. They rescue either the second one, the first one is gone and dies, and the others are rescued. These things I'm talking practically, they have happened. And that is depression. So, should we laugh at someone who is very dull, who is depressed or stressed, and we don't even bother to ask? We don't even bother to ask. I know we have young parents inside here. I am talking this because this is our church, and we have every group in this church. We have all the groups. We have young parents, and their generation is different from ours and from our parents. Mentorship programs. Do we mentor them? Do we encourage them? Because marriage is squeezy. Marriage, you hear marriage taking 1 year. Marriage takes 6 months, and it is over. 7 months, it is over. Are we chasing these people, or are we bringing them in? Another point I want to say is that I have said that depression does not select, does not choose. It affects every person, every cadre, and every social status. And therefore, what I want to request all of us, that we want to create an environment that is conducive for people to speak about what they are going through. What are you going through? Where are you stuck? What is making you to get stuck? Is it your relationship? What have you done about it? And where are you? And where are you? Where are you at the moment? And how can someone come in to support you, even to talk to you, even to encourage you, even to read for you a verse, other than laughing, stigmatizing, discriminating, and separating them? Things like the cancers now. Cancer now. We talk about cancers. And any other disease. It will give someone depression most likely, because it takes time. It takes time to accept, to cope. Even for the survivors, those who have won the disease and they live there, they live to testify, must have taken time until this moment that they have come out to speak about themselves. Such people, we should give them chances, let them speak about their experiences, because they build us, they develop us, they give us more skills. People don't feel alone. So we need a lot of support in this. Even in church, I don't know whether it happens in Creta. Kuna hii kitu kinaitwa betting. Inaitwa nini betting? Betting. Someone gets money, goes to bet, milioni zinaenda. So akirudi nyumbani, anahakishia familia gas. Anahakisha gas na wanaungua wote. Because amejimaliza kwa sababu pesa zimepotea. Madeni ya watu wamepewa. I hear even Christians do that. I don't know whether it is right. That people go to bed. You go to bed, you win, and then you say unaletea Mungu sadaka na ulienda kubet. I don't know. Those are things that bring mental illness at their homes, because it later violences. People will be fighting. People will be finishing their lives because of this. We should know our boundaries and know how to carry our lives even beyond the difficulties. I am happy that today we have talked more about encouraging one another, about doing good. You know, doing good. Even when we are giving thanksgiving, that is doing good. Appreciating someone. And even giving someone feedback that you don't look okay, you don't appear okay. Can I have a moment of your time? We share. Are you able to share? Even when someone cries and is not able to speak, that is already communication. I don't want to talk alone. I don't want to be left here. I want to invite you for a question and answer sessions. I don't know how many minutes are remaining. This is 5 minutes to 4. 5 minutes to 4. Yes? 10. Okay. Any burning question? Depression is a disease. Depression is preventable. Depression is treatable. Depression is curable. Depression is a disease like malaria, like pneumonia, and it can be treated. It is not a curse. It is not witchcraft. It is not attention seeking. It is a problem. Speak out when under pressure, and you will get supported. Another mic, give a mic there.
Good afternoon, church.
Good afternoon.
My name is Lynette. I have a question to the presenter. Maggie, thank you so much for touching on the topic of depression. I just want to understand from a layman's perception. We are bringing up young children in our homes. On several times, we've gotten our kids getting into drugs, which leads into depression. As a parent, how do you handle this young child in the house whom you're suspecting is getting into drugs, or maybe the child is into depression? As a parent, I believe I'm asking on behalf of all the parents who are in the house, how do you go about that? And what are the signs of depression in our young children? How do you identify this child is going through depression? And you, as a parent, how do you come on board to help the child? Thank you very much.
Yes, maybe I take those two. I respond.
First, I have to declare my conflict of interest. The one I'm asking is my own sister. And the question I want to ask is, I was having a conversation with a parent this week. They have a teenager in the house who has been suicidal since he was a child. But this has escalated to right now. He's about, I think, 17 or 18. I am inclined to think or to ask, how do you deal with such a situation whereby they've done possibly everything, like having counselors in the house, taking to the facility to have assistance, but this boy has been very suicidal, even as we speak. He attempted the last one. So I don't know what you'd speak to that, where you have a continuous, progressive traits and characteristics of, suicidal. Would you place it in depression, and how would you deal with that? Thank you very much.
I should be writing down. I think I forget.
Good afternoon. My name is Lynette Mogoka from Starez Dear Church. I have a question in relation to this family. Talk of family violence, whereby you find that probably husband and wife, they're fighting time and again. But in this case, you find that the wife or the lady is the one who is at more risk, maybe, or even both genders are at more risk. And we've had cases whereby a husband kills a wife or a wife kills her husband, or we have these signs in a family that everything is not okay. But you find that someone will keep saying, or the wife will keep saying, for the sake of my children, for my kids, because of my kids, even if I'm beaten, I'll remain. Even if I'm quarreled, I just want to be here so that my children can see that there's a father and there's a mother in this home. But at the end of it all, you find that at some point, either the man or the woman will die. Is it okay to just remain in a relationship for the sake of the children?
Thank you. Here is also a conflict of interest. She's my sister-in-law. I'm married to her brother, and I'm very happy for you. I'll start with your question. When one partner says, I stay, I live because of children, without considering the red flag, because of the high mortality rate, death rate related to gender-based violence, and the diseases that are related to gender-based violence. Because if it is a woman or a man, expect that he will lose his eyes, he will lose his teeth, or that woman will lose her teeth and eyes and fingers, especially the ones I'm seeing. When they try to protect themselves like this, the hand is gone, because now with the anger, someone uses anything. We have always educated or empowered the community that yes, it is wrong to separate. Marriage is the ideal institution that God created, that man and wife should live together as a husband and wife. A family is blessed when they live in unity as husband and wife. But here comes now issues of violence, accompanied by other triggers that are unknown. There is what we call a red flag. Just watch out. The many women and men who say, especially women say, I just live because of my children. Where the many cases that are handled for counseling, they will say, if I move away, I have no money to pay for my children in school. I am not employed. And this man is called a man. This man is the one paying the school fees. So some even testify that until he kills me and buries me, I'll never walk out. So I think ours is to give adequate information. We conduct counseling. We give them the risks, because when a partner sleeps in bed with a knife, in bed under the pillow, because it has happened, I'm talking about what has happened. He sleeps with a knife under the pillow, and the timing when this person is deeply asleep, and then just does it. We tell them, watch on the red flag that will make you now get out. It is about your life, and it is about the life of your children. Is it better to be killed or to be alive and get another option of how to bring up your children? Some have not been scared to move away. Some have just said, I have nowhere I can go. I cannot be received by my parents. I have no money. I can rent a business and stay on my own. I will live with this man until he kills me. So giving information that is very adequate, that is very in-depth, telling them the advantages of sustaining the marriage and the disadvantages of sustaining the marriage. So that, when we give information, I do not make choices for them. You empower this client to make a very positive, informed choice, and to identify that red flag that will make him walk out. Our wish, when someone realizes that the marriage is not working, it is better to walk out when alive than to walk out in a corpse. That is my take as a counselor. But it is very sad, because men have died in their marriage. They have died. They have died because they said they will live because of the children. But they have died, and those children now have not been left there. Children have gone elsewhere. The perpetrator maybe is in jail, and that is how things go as. So the fights are there. I think because of the economic hard times, the communication in the houses are very very critical because there are a lot of conflicts related to marriages today. But when we get chances to speak to spouses in church, to people who are married, it is good that people understand who the spouse is and the temperaments, and either you know your boundaries and what you can do best. How do we deal with the children? Children who have depression. Lynette, that's a good one. We have, as a psychologist and as healthcare workers system, there are people, there are members who are trained on how they handle children, on how to handle children with the depression or stress related. Because already the teacher will complain from school about the behavior of this child. These children change their behavior suddenly. Maybe they are crying all the time. They have withdrawn in class. They don't play with others. They don't even do anything, or they sleep on the desks. So most of them especially, like for example, those who have been born with families that have violence, experienced domestic violence, they go through a lot of stress. There are those babies who have been born with HIV. They are on HIV drugs. They are also stressed because they must comply. They must adhere to treatment. Maybe they have never taken breakfast. Maybe they are taken care by their caregivers, not parents. And the situation is just terrible. So how do we communicate? When we get them, I know we work closely with the Ministry of Children Department. We work closely with the Children Department. We also work closely with the DPP and the hospitals, because this is where they are brought. And here we have the staff who have been trained on child life support services. Child life support services, they have a way they speak to children, even to that child who doesn't speak. There are those who will never open their mouth, but they will get a therapist who will handle them, and you will get a feeling of this child. Maybe one example, a quick one. There was a 3-year-old who was being taken to hospital by her mother. The mother got an accident. She died while she was taking this baby to hospital. Then, now the baby was put into the ward. 3 years, these babies don't talk. They're just confused. I think through art therapy, drawing therapy, and role play, the child was able to communicate his feelings. And actually, communication was well done, and the child was able to be supported. So we have those expertise that are able to handle them, but that is when they reach us. So out there, we even have we have some like the speech therapies. You know, other children could be having issues with the speech therapy, or just because they are suffering mentally. So there's those few examples that are used to talk to them. Parents handling their children who abuse drugs. You know, our parents become the first criminals. You feel like it is something very embarrassing. You don't want anybody to know. But these children who abuse drugs don't hide, or they may hide, or they may not hide. They are doing it openly. I think a family that understands Jesus, a family that is a Christian, we need to integrate this child into the other siblings, love him, acknowledge him, and support him. You know, this child has a reason why he's abusing drugs. Probably due to peer pressure in the university. That is one thing that has taken the children. Maybe pressures from our own homes. They do drugs because they want to forget the violences that you are going through at home. They'll take those drugs. So ours is, once we support them, we will support them by accepting them. Even Jesus intermingled with the sinners. Jesus worked with those people that were not, were called rejects. And he was surprising people that he was closely working with the people that were not accepted in society. So, For us to succeed with anyone who is a drug addict or a drug abuser, number one is just to accept them and integrate them into our families. Then number two, when they see you relate well with them and find out whether he or she is willing to get help, they will get helped. But when you show them that you are an outcast in our family, you are the only one who has damaged this home, you are the only one who has embarrassed us, you are not even ashamed, and you see your brothers and sisters are doing very well, they are working, then that is how they continue rebelling. They rebel until you hear maybe they have died in an accident. So our parents, you know, our life is different from our children. My history, the way I was brought up, is different from the way I brought up this child. And sometimes when we share with them, telling them about our past, I remember my girl aliniambia, sasa mom, sasa hiyo nayo, hiyo sasa inaingiaje kwa life hii yetu leo? You know, yani ile kwa roho safi tu, how does that apply in our life? You people, you suffered. Unasema mlikuwa mnakanyaga chini. Sasa unataka sisi pia tukanyage chini. You know, I think it is about love. It is just about love. Because we have the children in our houses who are doing that, who are abusing various kinds of drugs. When they find there is a lot of resistance between dad and mom, or you are fighting because of this child, then finally, what happens? They will commit suicide. So I think it is good to preserve a life than to bury. That's my thinking. It's good to preserve a life, show them love, bring them on board, pray for them, and even one time give them a chance to pray. Give them a chance. My brother, I wish you had the chance. I was with him in the morning. Simama kidogo. Simama, my brother. Simama tafadhali. Just wave us. He shared with us in the morning when we were here. What is your name? Can I say what you said? Can I say it? Yes. We were with him in the morning here, and he testified. He said he has been a drug abuser. And for the last 5 months, he has not taken. And today he's here. So how could have we gotten him here? If someone did not recognize him, did not acknowledge him, angepima hapa aone watu hapa, au watu hawanipende wawapoke. He doesn't even have that craving, Hana, because amejiset, you know, amejiset. Amekubali kuacha, amefika kanisani, amepata, amepokewa, amependwa, and they can always change. They can always change. So it is about accept. God bless you, my brother. You are not alone. And thank you for making that good step forward. And God is not going to leave you. You have a story to tell the world, and you will change people through your story. Many will change because of you. And many other guys, we get you like now. You know, you have now become our church champion. You know that? You are now a church champion here. Unasimama imara hivi unaongea. One time I went to a school. Na kijana moja akatoka akaniambia, sister, wacha niongee sasa. Huyo ni mimi, umeongea maneno ya drugs. Huyo ni mimi. Let me tell these boys what I've been doing. And I was so happy with you in the morning. Mungu tu akubariki sana na ukatae kabisa vile umekataa. Ukisikia kiu, wewe pika hata strong tea kunywa. Ukisikia kiu, pika hiyo chai kunywa. And just go the way you have gone. Mungu akubariki na kuachia Biblia yangu hapa saa hii. Thank you so much. Any other question? You know you are my boss. Time.
Happy Sabbath. Sasa kuna kitu umeongea about depression is affecting many youths. It doesn't choose anyone. Yes. Kuna hii nini umesema, number one, depression is affecting many youth, doesn't choose anyone, even hata mtoto mdogo. Hii kitu kulingana hata watoto wadogo, sisi wazazi ndio ama hii ulimwengu pia inaleta hiyo vitu kama depression. Kama saa hii huku nje utasikia watu wakisema ati serikali ya Ruto, kitu ya kwanza hiyo ni depression. Kitu ya pili vile umesema mzazi, kuna mtoto anapenda, kuna ule apendi, pia hiyo inatufanya tukue na hiyo depression. Na hiyo depression it's like Ushaiona ile kitu inamea hapa inakuwa, yani na kitu tu inamelea mtu inakuwa. Sasa I think hiyo kitu inakaanga hivyo kwa katika maisha ya mtu, but we mwenyewe unaweza kuwa na decision. Pia sisi watu hapa, sisi washirika wa hii kanisa, tukiona mtu akona hali, sio hali lakini amekuja kanisani, tusimuache aende. Mimi nimekuwa nikikuja hapa hii kanisa, nimekuwa nikikuja nikienda, naona hakuna mtu ana shughuli, hakuna mtu ana nini. Mimi ni kuenda tu because nimesema wacha nikuje leo ni serve Mungu na niende. Wacheni tuwe watu wa kuoneana huruma, na pia kama we ni mzazi, kuna wale ambao wako na ndugu zake, wako na watoto, sister yako wako na watoto, tujaribu tuwasaidie, sababu hiyo depression kweli imefanya many youths. Ukitembea hapa nje, hata mimi saa hii watu wa mama wa soko tunapatananga nao wananiuliza, si tunasikiaga mtu hawezi wacha maisha ya uchokora, ni tamu, sababu umezoea vitu ya bure, vitu ya nini, hiyo ni maisha tamu. But asanti sana, uko kitu umenifundisha na sitakubali hiyo kitu ifanye tena nirudi mahali nilikuwa. Amen.
Asante. Victor, my brother, sorry, you were asking, you are handling a suicidal case, and this child has been attempting since childhood up to this age at 17. Is that what you said? So the dilemma is how to handle it and probably the reasons. Now, number one, you understand about the family that I don't have in my picture. Probably, maybe you would explore more about the relationship of these parents, how they are relating. Number two, find out about where this child was brought up. How was this child brought up? And where was...
May I interject? We have another very critical program. We needed Margaret to spend about 1 hour. Now, I know we have so many questions. We can plan to invite her next time, specifically for questions and answers, and of course, you can still give us more on the same and other areas. So let her just finish the comments she was making in exactly 5 minutes, so that we can invite the other brother to be able also to give us just an overview because of time. And then we'll also invite him next time. We'll invite both of you differently so that we can finish the business from your side and from his side.
I agree.
So kindly, maybe just paraphrase.
I agree. I know this will take a lot of time and I don't want to engage anymore. My brother, you will understand me, unione kando. And I know those others with any other questions, maybe we can meet after this, we discuss, because someone there has a burning question. Elder, someone has a burning question the other end. Can he...
Yes, mine was not a burning question. It's a compliment, and thank you very much.
Okay.
I was kindly and with humility asking the church that such programs I have seen, I'm also a leader in the church, such programs, it could be very nice if you consider entrenching them in the mainstream service rather than doing it in the afternoons. You will rarely get more than 10% of the membership. And it touches welfare matters and these ones. If you do that next, my prayer will be you entrench it earlier but not in the afternoon. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that nice input. Just allow us to pray. Let's pray to end it here. But we are still around. We can do a few consultations. Wacha tuombe. Tunaomba. Baba wetu na Mungu wetu, asante kwa sababu ya masaa haya. Tumeongea mengi, magumu, huenda yamekupendeza kwa uso wako, ama Mungu wetu tumekosea kwa njia moja au nyingine. Tunaomba kama kuna yale mazuri ambayo umefurahia, Baba wetu jina lako litukuzwe. Utusaidie maana sisi ni familia ziko represented katika kanisa hili. Tuko na watoto wetu, tuko na majirani, tuko na marafiki, na mambo pale nje yamekuwa magumu sana. Utusaidie tunapofanya uamuzi katika maisha yetu, maana tunaona ugonjwa wa akili unachukua idadi kubwa sana, watu wanajitoa uhai, Mungu wetu, na watoto wako wamekosa nafasi ya kukuabudu kwa sababu ya magonjwa hayo. Naomba utubariki kama kanisa, utubariki kama watoto wako, tunapoendelea na mikakati hii katika kuhakikisha afya zetu ziko salama. Uwe pamoja nasi kila wakati, kila muda, popote tunapotembea, tulisifu jina lako. Mgeni wetu anayeingia next, tunaomba nayo umbariki anapoanza kipindi hiki hadi tutakapomaliza. Tunaomba katika jina la Yesu Mwokozi wetu. Amen. Asante.
Thank you so much, Sister Margaret. Thank you so much. God bless you. It is in our diary. We'll invite you. So you'll come and we'll have an elaborate engagement next time. Our brothers and sisters, we want to invite our brother Gilbert. He is going to give us just an overview of the issue at hand, which is also very important for many of us. Brother Gilbert, you're welcome. Maybe 30, 40 minutes there should be enough to just give us an overview of the whole thing. You're welcome.
Thank you, Elder. Is it good afternoon or good evening? Good evening. Thank you. As you've heard from Elder, my good names are Gilbert Mogambi Osoro. Gilbert Mogambi Osoro. I'm an advocate of what we call the fourth industrial revolution. How many of you by chance have heard about the fourth industrial revolution? By a show of hands. I can only see 2 youths, and my message today was 3. As an advocate of the fourth industrial revolution, we advocate adapting of new and emerging technologies. We are talking of data science, artificial intelligence, software engineering, blockchain technology, what we call distributed ledgers, digital transformation specialization, amongst others. The world is changing at a very rapid pace, and if you do not reskill and retool and upgrade, you may end up shortchanging yourself. The good book tells us that in the book of Jeremiah 26, verses 11, that I've got good plans for you. And the plans are for what? Prosperity. Whenever I speak to youth, they keep asking me, Pastor, is this scripture real, that God has got plans for us? And there are youth who have gone up to the university. Their parents have sacrificed, sold assets, they've done their masters, their PhDs, but they cannot secure gainful employment. So this afternoon, I'm here to tell you the good news that it is not lost. Allow me to pray before we take a deep dive on the job landscape and how it will impact the youth. And the big one, how can we assist our youth to reskill, retool, and upgrade and secure the future? So let us pray. Heavenly Father, loving Master, we come before you this evening with thanks and praises. Thank you, Lord, for the gift of Sabbath. Thank you. Thank you, Lord, for the good word we've had this morning and for the mental training that we've had this afternoon. As we speak to your people on how they can reskill, retool, and secure the future, Father, let me not speak my words, but give me the knowledge that comes from above. Above it all, let us remember to glorify your name. For it is in Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen. Thank you for according me this opportunity to be back here in Creta. I'm a member of Creta, but when I erected my retirement home in Ngata, I moved to Ngata. So, Pastor, I'm still part and parcel of this great community of Creta. And each time I come back and see Elder Matagaro and the rest of the team who are doing a wonderful job, I give glory unto God. Apart from being an advocate of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, I also work for the government. I work what was known as previously as the National Health Insurance Fund. Siku hizi nasikia watu wakisema SHI, wengine wanasema SHA. I told elders that there are so many changes that have happened, including the issue of mental health, whereby the government has increased the benefit package for people who ail from drug and substance abuse. The government will pay for you 67,000 for 60 days to be admitted in a mental institution. For mental illness, schizophrenia, depression, the government is obligated to pay 4,480 shillings per day for 180 days. You can see the way the issues of mental illness have been taken seriously by the government. Now it's even a requirement in institutions to have a mental wellness day once in a year to check and encourage employees to ascertain that they are mentally okay. Allow me now to take a dive into the digital transformation, what I had prepared for you. And I'll start with something called a ship that got stuck when it docked at a port in England. Now, I want to tell you this parable before I make a relationship to what I want to share today. A giant ship had its engine fail, and the ship's owners tried to fix the ship. They invited various experts who had knowledge about shipbuilding and engines to try and resuscitate the ship back to life without success. What happened? They were told that there was an old man in a far-flung village who grew up repairing ships. They sent out an invitation to this old man to come and repair the ship. The old man honored the invitation and he came. And he came with a very big bag which contained his tool, and he proceeded to inspect the ship from the top to the bottom. Now, this is what the old man realized. In the course of inspection, he went to the engine room and noted that the engine had seized. Not that it did not have sufficient oil or a coolant, but it was choked because of carbon. He went to his bag, extracted a small hammer, and tapped the engine. He then requested the driver of the ship, a coxswain, to start the ship. And the ship latched back to life, and he proceeded to close his bag and go home. A week later, the two directors who witnessed that particular occasion received a bill of $10,000. Remember what this old man did? He just what? Tapped. Those directors were very outraged. They said this old man never did anything. He just tapped and the ship latched back to life. They had a board meeting. They wrote back to the old man and told him to share what we call an itemized invoice, a breakdown of the services he rendered. The old man sent an itemized invoice as requested. It had two contents. He wrote this. One, knowing where to tap, $9,999. How much? $9,999. Tapping, $1. Total, $10,000. What lesson do we learn from this episode? One is that experience matters. We did indicate that the person who came to repair the ship was an old man. He had an avalanche of knowledge. The old man's years of experience and deep understanding of the ship's engine allowed him to successfully diagnose the problem and fixed it. The big one, why I said this parable, the value of knowledge. The seemingly high fee wasn't just for the physical act of tapping with the hammer, but knowing exactly where to to tap. There is an English saying that says, if a man pours his wallet to his head, no one can take it away from him. Long and short, an investment in education has the highest return on investment. Youth tuko. I can't hear the youth. Youth. I normally tell my kids, they spend a lot of time on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And the biggest killer of dreams in Africa are those social media sites. For your information, TikTok is regulated in the US. You cannot spend the entire day posting selfies in TikTok. In China, where the inventors of TikTok are based, they've put applications at the workplace. You can only use TikTok for a maximum of 1 hour. But what about here? Sometimes when I pass by my daughter's room past at night, when I want to I'm going to the short call, I can see someone browsing at 1. And I keep wondering, what are they looking at? Long and short, it's better you change. Where I come from, in Kisi, there's a Kisi saying that says, unless the chameleon abandons the majestic walking style of its ancestors, it can never escape the raging forest fire. Church, are you listening? That unless the chameleon abandons the majestic walking style of its ancestors, it can never escape what? The raging forest fire. That is my message to the youth today. Number 3, perception of effort. Just because a task appears simple or quick doesn't mean it lacks complexity or value. Number 4, the engine was fixed. I want to talk briefly about technology. They say that when new technology is rolled out, it's either you are part of the technology or you are part of the steamroller or you are part of the road. Are we together? You can imagine a steamroller crashing something on the road. And that's why I want to speak to the youth today. There is digital transformation happening all over in the world, beginning even from our country here. When we grew up, we used to have telephone booths. If you wanted to call your next of kin, the only place you could go and place a call was posta. But that has changed. From the comfort of your cell phone, you can be able to call anyone, anytime. And mobile phone penetration in this country stands at 80%. There is a fundamental change in operations. When we grew up, if you went to a neighboring town, to get accommodation, you had to go to a place written boarding and lodging. Today, you don't have to look for a place to sleep. There are applications, Airbnb. You just enter, you're in Nakuru, enter the budget you want. Within the comfort of your phone, you can be able to book for accommodation. Same case to a taxi. You don't need to go to a taxi rank to hail a taxi, but there are taxi hailing applications that can enable you get a taxi. What are the key drivers of this digital transformation? Allow me to move very fast because I was only given 40 minutes and you'll signal me when it's about time. We are talking of artificial intelligence. Go to the next slide. AI and machine learning. AI is the in thing. Where I work in my office, sometimes people ask me, you do 3 people's work. Nafanya kazi za watu wata? But what they don't know, I'm an expert in what we call generative AI. ChatGPT. How many use ChatGPT here? We need to reskill and retool because work that can be done by 3 people can be able to be done by a single person. And when you're talking of AI tools, there are quite a number. Personally, I use ChatGPT. There's a Google Copilot. We also have Gemini. For those who do data science like me, we have what we call Julius AI and many others. And they make work easy. By a touch of a button, you just write sermon based on let's say we can, a good example, write a concept paper on evangelism. And it will give you all the points: introduction, literature review, impact, up to conclusion, within 5 minutes. I want to implore you people, as you leave here tonight, your take home, please take time to learn these new technologies. Otherwise, like the proverbial chameleon, you will forever remain shortchanged. So the other big thing that is changing technology is the Internet of Things. We are talking of wearable devices, cloud computing. We are talking of people doing robotic surgeries. You can be operated by a doctor in India who has never come to Kenya, using what we call a robotic arm. We have cloud computing, whereby you don't need to have a big server to store your documents. You can hire space outside there to store things. The big one, data analytics. This afternoon, seated there, when I checked my LinkedIn account, and I did write data science jobs in the US, I saw that there were 184,000 jobs, of which 12,000 were added today. Youth, tusisikie mtu akisema kazi hakuna. There were 184,000. I want to request someone to Google very fast. Data science jobs in the US. Madam has told us youth have depression, parents are depressed. But what we need now are tangible solutions to get those youth out of the depression. And it is so easy. We sang this morning here, "Hark the voice of Jesus, who will go and work today. The fields are white and harvest is calling." The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. What you need to do is to reskill and retool. I remember my Swahili teacher allowed me to digress a bit, Pastor. I was not very good in Swahili. One time aliniambia, mzazi yako hawezi uza ng'ombe, alete ng'ombe ngine ndogo hapa. Ati aliuza ng'ombe kubwa, akaleta ng'ombe ngine ndogo wapi? I understood later on what he meant. My late father was a teacher. Aliniambia, as a teacher, I must make sure you succeed in life. And indeed, I got so many canes because I was not very good in Swahili. But long and short, those many canes made me go the long distance. Why am I saying this? Parents are very determined to support the youth. Kweli wazazi? Mzazi anauza backup lot kupeleka mtoto parallel. But I want you to know, to understand today, that it is not enough to acquire higher education. It must translate to gainful employment. Are we together? Then you will be the same case nimesema yule mwalimu aliuza ng'ombe akapeleka ng'ombe ngine ndogo shule. And how do you do it? It is what I'm telling you today, and I hope you'll invite me, Pastor, during the Youth Day, to open the eyes of these parents. I've told you, when I checked, there were 184,000 data science jobs. When I checked software engineering jobs, they were in excess of 600,000. Sasa youth wanauliza, hizi kazi mbona huku umetuambia tulipoenda shule? You are lucky you have mentors and coaches. During our time, mwalimu akifuta blackboard, maneno yako imefanya nini? If you didn't capture the notes, you are finished. Today you are lucky. You have mentors and coaches who take time to dig deep and tell you what is happening in the job landscape. Now, what is the impact of this digital transformation on the job landscape? The creation of new roles and skills, as I've said. When you check the internet during your free time when you retire home, if you Google something called prompt engineering, those are generative AI engineers, it is the #1 trending job in the world. The guys who make ChatGPT, Google Copilot, and many others. And the average salary of a prompt engineer is in excess of $200,000 US. We are talking of people who earn 3 million. Are we together? 3 million a month and going up. The other key jobs that are coming up are cyber security jobs. And I think 2 weeks ago, I attended a skills. There was a tech challenge at a Lions school here on a particular Sunday. I met one student who worships here, who is studying data science. I actually invited him. Maxwell, I think he should be around. Are you? Yes. Maxwell is one of the students that I nurtured. He's doing his final year. As he graduates, he has done 3 certifications. Allow him to say something in 3 minutes. When I met him, he had already lost hope. But I told him all is not lost. A journey of 1,000 kilometers begins with a single step. Just say something about yourself, then we continue.
Happy Sabbath. Happy day. I had prepared something, but it has evaporated. So, Maxwell Mogambi. I am a member of this church. And how should I introduce myself? Let me just pitch like I'm pitching to a recruiter. So, I'm a data scientist. I'm also a machine learning engineer. And I'm also a student at Egerton University. I'm finalizing. And some of my lecturers worship here, and also some of my friends. So maybe in a nutshell, for the longest time possible, I have been, I've been having insecurities about my future. I've been wondering, will I be the next statistics of unemployed graduates? And it has been bothering me for a while, until when I met my mentor here, Gilbert. That was early last year, and it is when that he introduced me to this 4th industrial revolution. I didn't say I pursue commerce, entrepreneurship, and business management at Egerton. So I was wondering, what do you mean I should start doing technology? Where do I start from? Of course, born and raised in the town, umezoea kutumia computer, playing games and FIFA and everything. But now we are talking about different perspectives of technology. And I started doing tech last year, so I'll just fast forward everything. Since I started learning technology and reskilling and upskilling, like they always say, the proverbial chameleon. And to where I stand today, things have really transformed in my life. I no longer have those insecurities because I'm sure I've secured my future. I have learned the skills, I've gained the knowledge that is like the hot skills in the market. They say data science is the new oil, it is the new oil. Data is the new oil. So I can say I have the oil money. And so in a nutshell, I can say I wish we had the youths around, but as parents, you can pass it to your kids around when you go back home. It's never too late to switch, not to switch your career, but to safeguard your career. You don't have to switch from whatever course you're doing, either it's law, education, or whatever, but you can integrate the skills that are required in the market to what you are doing. So maybe to brighten the faces, I can say that I'm an ambassador of various organizations that are trying to promote data and artificial intelligence. We are talking of Zindi Africa, we are talking of Google and Microsoft. And this is all because of me accepting and trying to learn and unlearn new things. So there's this famous quote that we use: the illiterate of the 21st century won't be those who won't read and write, but those who won't learn and relearn. Don't be the illiterate of the 21st century.
Thank you. This is one of the students that I told that for you to secure the future, it will be business unusual. And that is what I'm telling the parents here today. It must be business unusual. One of the biggest challenges that afflicts this country is a phenomenon known as skills mismatch, whereby the millions of students who graduate from university do not fit in the job landscape. As I indicated, we have many children who've done agriculture, some of them have done other courses, anthropology and many others. Not to belittle those courses, But the job opportunities in those courses, even economics and many others, are limited. The other courses, like I've said, AI, big data analytics, software engineering, that are coming up, whereby we don't have sufficient students who have graduated to recruit. To cure this skills mismatch, you must align your learning to the new technology. As he has aptly captured it, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot and learn, relearn, reskill, retool, and upgrade. I want you to go to the next slide because I want to move a bit faster. Now, the new jobs that are being created include artificial intelligence, Internet of Things engineers, cybersecurity experts, cloud computing professionals. There is need for increased demand for digital marketing and e-commerce. Nowadays, I don't go to the supermarket. From the comfort of my phone, I go to Carrefour, do my online shopping, wait for 30 minutes, I find a motorbike rider delivering shopping for the month. Yeah? Do you know how to use those platforms? Even Naivas has the same platform. How many use those platforms? It saves a lot of time and energy. Similar, one time where I worship, we decided to do data analytics in this journey to win souls. And we did a survey. We said, let us look at the cost of investment in holding a crusade. We held a crusade, we won some souls, some we retained, unfortunately, some the devil took back. And we said, this is what we achieved. The other thing we attempted, we raised a similar amount and said, let us make a difference to humanity. We went to hospitals and cleared bills. What we noted, for the people we paid bills, whom we did not even preach the gospel, they came to church by themselves. Walijileta. Wakasema, kuna wale watu amu walikuja, wakanilipia bill Kenyatta. I want to see where those people worship. I want to join that church. I saw Christ in them. Sometimes you have to make what we call data-driven decision management. Even as we preach the gospel, where can we have the biggest impact? I had lunch with this young man, Patrick, leo. Tulikaa naye hapa, and I was so excited. Nilipoona he had a small notebook where he was struggling to write. So umepata notebook? Nikamwambia maneno ya notebook sasa niwaachie. During the lunch break, nikamwambia tembea kidogo tukule, tukae pamoja. What am I trying to say? That how we treat these people who come to church, it will be make or break. The first impression will be what will remain in their minds to come. That is why when Christians went to India in 1948, they met Mahatma Gandhi. And Mahatma Gandhi had this to tell Christians, I've heard the great works of Jesus Christ. I want to see you people do the works in action. Let the actions of Christ preach for you. Long and short, alisema tuone vitendo. So we'll move ahead. So one thing I want to tell you that it's important to engage in continuous learning. I happen to have been privileged to be here last week when Pastor preached on can you be counted on. In his closing submission, Pastor, you said, wanaume lazima tujitu, usikae tu nyumbani, ukae ule mtu naita furumamba, tu wewe unalala tu, uko TikTok na news. Unaangalia ni nani amekuwa impeached parliament. Mama anatoka asubuhi mpaka anarudi jioni, wewe umeekelea miguu kwa kiti. Ama uende kufanya what pastor said today, our sister said. There are people who are betting. Betting is not a way of life. I want to encourage you, no matter your age, to go back to school, learn new and emerging technologies. Make sure that you are better off. This young man, when I met him last year, alikuwa ananiambia he doesn't see his future, but I'm happy. Today he has 9 certificates, including a certificate in artificial intelligence, and machine learning. What he didn't tell you is working offline. Anafanya na watu wanaitwa Turing in the US, making his own money. Hata mzazi ajui, working offline. And there are so many offline places you can be able to work on. We have a Turing, we have FlexiJob, Upwork, and many other sites that require specialized skills. Kenyans earn in excess of $3,000. There was an incident last week that shocked me. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Of a young man who committed suicide in Mombasa. And shockingly, he was working for a remote site. It was Rotatech. He had in his account 95 million. Pesa ilikuwa mingi until it costed his death. But what am I trying to say? The young man had mastered the system. He was doing blockchain, trading on blockchain, and investing in the New York Stock Exchange. It is very possible, even here in Greater Church, these youth who do not have employment, to make a 6-digit figure salary by reskilling and retooling. Job displacement, there is automation of routine tasks, there is transition to complex and creative tasks. What am I saying? For those of you who read the print and electronic media, 2 months ago, Standard Group, I hope hakuna mtu wa Standard Group hapa, sent 600 workers at home. Are you aware? Nation Media, 3 weeks ago, they sacked over 800 employees, including reporters. Why did they do so? They automated their systems. And some of the employees who were sacked are long-serving staff who came with an avalanche of experience. Are they editing newspapers? They are using generative AI, Grammarly, ChatGPT. Instead of employing people, you can leverage on technology to do the same work people were doing. But the danger is, if we are not careful, in the next 10 years, technology will render 70% of us to be declared redundant. Munanisikia? 70% will go home unless we change course. That is why in Singapore, last year, the government introduced a program for reskilling and retooling. It's called Skills Credit. The government of Singapore gave all civil servants over the age of 40 years a grant whereby if you go back to school and study new technology, they were given $4,000 every year, equivalent to $600,000, and they were getting a monthly allowance of $200 to go to school to read, so that come 2027, when new technology is deployed, instead of sacking these people, they will be absorbed to continue the same. I want to appeal to people in the traditional industries. Don't remain secure. The other day, I saw in China, we have robots that can dispense drugs in hospital. I don't know that you've been checking. When COVID came in China, they developed robots. Instead of a nurse going to see a patient ashikwe na ugonjwa, a robot comes to your room and dispenses drugs. Long and short, in a few years, those nurses might be declared redundant. Same case to lawyers. The courts have introduced transcription services, whereby you can tender in your evidence, it's automatically recorded. By a touch of a button, the judge can render judgment. If you are in the court system, get worried. What I didn't tell you, because I'll tell you later, when you look at the top 10 declining jobs, the number 1 declining job currently in the world are accountants, are auditors. Do you have accountants here? Haya, kuna kitu inaitwa QuickBooks. Umesikia QuickBooks? QuickBooks, Microsoft Power BI, they can even do reconciliation without human intervention. Feed in what you've spent, the income in, tell it to do a trial balance. At a touch of a button, you have your trial balance. The good thing, you can reskill and retool to be the person operating that system. All is not lost. We will keep on repeating this term, reskill and retool, so that you secure your future. Now, with this, we have, with remote work and flexibility, there's the rise of remote work and hybrid models. Where I work, sometimes you don't need to go to the office. You can work from the comfort of your house, do meetings, Zoom meetings, send reports, engage clients. But the big one is whereby I said young men now can work comfortably for companies in the US, and I gave examples of Upwork, FlexiJob, Turing, and many others. Now, the biggest sector that will be impacted by this technology, number one, we are talking of healthcare. We are now talking of telemedicine, whereby you can be able to get prescriptions from other jurisdictions and get treated. We have AI in diagnostic, whereby you key in details. Kama wewe ni mgonjwa, you enter, you have a headache, temperature, how you are feeling, and AI can generate a report and proceed to issue a prescription, the medication you need to buy, and many others. We are talking of education, and people will ask me, how do I study AI? It's not in Kenya. We have what we call MOOCs, Massive Open Online Courses. How many people have heard of Coursera? There's a program called Coursera. I'm happy. Have you ever enrolled for a course in Coursera? Please do enroll. They have international certifications. We are talking of virtual classrooms like Google Meet, personalized learning, and many other things. When we talk of finance, we are talking of fintech innovations and mobile banking. Last year, in Singapore, a bank in Singapore, the National Bank in Singapore, closed 40 branches. They went virtual. So for those 40 branches, all those staff were sent packing. You can deposit, withdraw, get a statement online. Same case to Kenya here. Last year, Standard Bank, I think, closed 5 branches in Nairobi. Those branches are now virtual. Elder Zablon, utaki kuongea na mtu, you just go in, key in your details. What do you want? Bank statement, sent to your email. Application for loan, you do it there on the spot. It's reviewed, you get feedback. So for those people in the banking industry, it's very important they also reskill and retool to secure their future. I want to share with you some of the case studies. Najua sisi wa Kristo tunaamini living testimonies. Seeing is believing. I want to share with you the case of Nokia. I was privileged, my first mobile phone nilikuwa nayo, pasta ilikuwa inaitwa Katululu. Sijui hapa kama mnajua Katululu, mulika muizi. Huko mtaani wanaita pasta inaitwa Katululu. So Katululu, when mobile phones came, it was the most popular phone in this country. And actually one of the best selling brands for Nokia ilikuwa 3310. It was very heavy. So Nokia was a leading manufacturer of phones, and it dominated the market in the late 1990s and 2000. Now what happened, Nokia did not invest in innovation. It underestimated the importance of software development and the smartphone revolution. Other companies like Apple and Google who partnered with Samsung, came up with the Android smartphones, the so-called Samsung, Technos, and others that were using, that were rolled out. Because of the advanced operating system, they were quickly to gain foothold of the market. What happened next? Nokia's failure to transition to the smartphone era resulted in drastic loss of market share. In the year 2013, Nokia was declared bankrupt and it was sold to Microsoft. Although the company has now pivoted to telecommunication infrastructure, it never regained its former dominance in the mobile phone market. As I said, It's either you change or forever remain shortchanged. That is how Nokia shortchanged itself. So the other thing I want to share with you, what lessons do we learn from Nokia's experience? Nokia's experience highlights the importance of foresight. What I'm telling you is foresight. We need to tell our children. And adaptability in digital transformations. Companies must prioritize innovation and be willing to pivot their businesses and models in response to technological changes. After COVID came, even here in church, nowadays, personally, when I give my tithes and offering, I use my M-Pesa. It is very long. It's a long time ago since I wrote an envelope. And that is the route to go. Even as things change, we must innovate. I'm happy nowadays Creator is available on YouTube. You can be able to follow their services here. You can see even in church we are innovating. Things are changing. So as we continue, I will appeal that we become agile and scalable to change. I want to share with you the second experience. Move the slides of a company that was called Kodak. Kodak, growing up, was the best company when it came to photography. I remember over Christmas holidays, we had to invite a photographer to ensure that we capture those moments. Those days when we were in high school and we were courting, Pastor, ungepiga picha ile suti umeomba na jeans, you sent to the other half in the girls' school. Uonekana hata uko smart, hata kama nguo uliomba. Nokia was the main player. Not Nokia, Kodak. And Kodak was spread across the entire country, and it was known for photographic film products. Despite inventing the first digital camera in 1975, the company failed to capitalize on innovation. Other companies went ahead, took the gamble, and invested in digital photography. The reluctance to embrace digital, Kodak invested in its film business where it was secure and feared that digital photography will cannibalize its film sales. What was the result? Because they were reluctant to invest in photography, long and short, the company was declared bankrupt. They could not make it. They tried to invent a digital camera, but it was too late. Other companies like Sony and Nippon and others had come up with better cameras, and by the time they came to the market, they came in as a late entrant, and their efforts were too late. What do we learn? Underestimating competitors. Never underestimate the power of competitors. Keep abreast with what they are doing. The other thing, misguided strategies. And this is what we learned today, that there are people who only feel comfortable in their comfort zone. When you try to tell them that you can do things differently, you can see resistance, especially us in the old generation. My kids keep reminding me that, Dad, I'm difficult to change. But I tell them, talk to me slowly so that I catch up with you. So let us open up to learning new things as they come to the market. Now, the lesson learned from those two cases, next slide, is embrace innovation, continuously innovate and adapt to new technologies, adaptability, proactive leadership, what Pastor told us last week. Can you be counted on with the family? Be willing to disrupt your own business if necessary. Now, I'll talk about the recent development. Move 2 slides until you go to the Nation Media Group. Now, Nation Media Group retrenched an estimated 180 employees in a rationalization process that was described as shocking. The management said that doing so was to survive in the digital environment, as even the price of newsprint, their newspaper, and a weak shilling and the rising cost of production had eaten into their profits. You can see the Business Daily of July 11th. We'll go to Standard Group again. Same case to Standard Group PLC. They announced plans to lay off 300 workers, citing a difficult operating environment. And in a notice to all employees that was dated on July 30th, the Media House declared its intention to declare the employees redundant under Section 41 of the Employment Act. The Media House said it will be structuring for your better efficient performance and growth. For your information, they even closed a TV station. I used to watch my news at KTN News. Are you aware it was closed down? They are now run one station. You can see the impact of AI in the job landscape. And to the next slide, importance of continuous learning. In this rapidly evolving digital world, it's crucial to be able to learn new skills. I was challenging my brother the other day. He's typing with one finger. I told him, why can't you use the internet? Use both hands to type. You don't need to go to a school. My challenge to you and me, that let us not end the year with that one certificate we graduated with. Hata kujifundisha ChatGPT the entire year. Please. And I say, the biggest killer of dreams is wasted time. My best strides in life is between 7 to 9. I don't watch a lot of TV. I only watch news. The other remaining time, I get to know what is happening in the rest of the world elder. For your information, I read a newsletter from the General Conference the other day, and the General Conference of SDA is saying we adapt new and emerging. The conference has realized the importance of technology in spreading the gospel. So let us not be left behind. Whenever we hear new technologies emerging, please ensure you are among that conversation. When you hear people talking of data science, and the young man says, data is the new oil. I'll go further. There's the chief operating officer of a company called Tesla said that in God we trust. All other people must bring data. Tuko pamoja. In God we trust, but all other people must bring data, which is the new oil. So kindly take time to continuously learn and update your skills. Whenever I sit in panels that recruit people, when you have submitted your academic credentials and we've questioned you through the entire interview and we see you are fit for the job, the next question we normally ask, after you graduated in 1998 or 2000, what else have you done? Unanisikia? Who want to you if you tell us nilienda tu ile AMO training tukafundishwa maneno ya communication. We will look at you and tell you that was good. Thank you. When you're in an interview panel, when you tell them that you've not added anything and they tell you, thank you, we will communicate, that is a sure sign you didn't pass the interview. But if they ask you, have you learned anything apart from your degree here? You can tell them, I've done digital marketing. The next question they'll ask you, tell us more about digital marketing. Know that you've carried the day, you've gotten that job. I'm trying to share with you tips employers use. They want to hear that you've adapted to new and emerging technologies. Yes, I'll take questions as I conclude. I'm seeing some hands are up. Adapt to change. The future of work demands that you be agile, be adaptable and willing to embrace change. By staying connected, being informed about new technologies, trends, you can prepare to secure the future. Next slide. What do we do? I'll move very fast because my time is up. I think I'll do 2 more slides. Now, go to the next slide. What do you need to do to secure the future? I've talked about continuous learning and skill development, upskill and retool, embrace lifelong learning, gain practical experience, do hands-on projects, engage in practical projects like AI and machine learning, participate in competition. The other key thing, networking and professional development. Get mentors, people who've succeeded in the industry. No man is an island. We are here to support and work with you. We don't charge anything, it's for free of charge. Next slide is, of course, I've said adapt to new roles and opportunities, be open to change, understand ethical implications of ethical AI, and AI has benefits both positive and negative. So kindly keep away from the negative ones, because we are talking of people who are doing genetic replication. We know as Christians that creation is a functionality of God. We cannot have human beings trying to do what we call genotyping, modifying genes scientifically. So we encourage people to do ethical AI. Stay informed on the industry trends, read articles, read magazines that will add into your life. Develop a personal brand, showcase your expertise. They say this, that if a man is skilled in what he does, he will eat with kings. It's in the Bible. I think Proverbs 9, that if you are skilled in whatever you do, you'll do what? Eat with kings. Are we there? So take your work very seriously. I want to end there, and I thank you for listening to me. I had prepared a whole range of presentation specifically geared to the youth. As I said when I started this conversation, in the year 2025 rather, there will be 197 million new jobs. The jobs will be in data science, artificial intelligence and machine learning, software engineering, digital transformation specialization, digital marketing, amongst others. The other extreme end, they say to every action, there is an action that is equal and opposite. There are top 10 declining jobs, including auditors and accountants, data entry clerks. We have postal clerks, because now you don't need to go to the poster to send a letter. Machine operators, we are talking of what we call robotic process automation. If you go to China, you go to an industry where they produce vehicles known as BYD, you'll only see 5 employees producing 1,000 cars per day. What do? They just monitor the robots that are working there. I want to end by saying that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot unlearn, relearn, reskill, retool, and upgrade. I want to end it there. I submit. Thank you for listening to me. I don't know whether we'll take questions. I stand to be guided by Elder. It's all right. I'll take 2 questions. Just arise on your 2 feet. Kindly give him the mic.
Okay, happy Sabbath.
Happy day.
Happy day.
Happy Sabbath.
Mine is a simple question. It's a very good expose that you've just told us about.
Thank you.
I'm very grateful. It's a very interesting field. Personally, I find myself affiliated to fields such as those. I wanted to do software engineering, but I found myself to a field that is related to that. And my question is, sometimes after people graduate, they find it difficult to monetize whatever the skill that they have learned. So could you kindly help us respond? Could you kindly respond to that? And then concerning networking, actually this is one of the few instances where we can get people to guide us and help us to understand what is happening out here. How do we find such people who can help us and guide us, in our interactions? Thank you.
Thank you for those 2 questions. There's one here.
Oh.
There's a hand here.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
That was really insightful, and I believe you've talked to our Gen Z, and now they know where the buttons to press. So my question is, I saw something about customer-centric. In the analog system, for an organization to retain its members or its clients or to have repeat clients, it's by giving top-notch customer service. That is the only thing that could differentiate who goes where. Now that we are going digital, I believe that all services will simply be equal or something. So then how are we able to differentiate where do we get the best services? Like I could say, probably StanChart gives the best services in banks. So now that we're going digital, probably all services will be the same. How do I get to select the best service provider if we are all going digital?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I must say
Welcome.
that was a wonderful presentation, and it speaks to me as well.
You're welcome.
I have a very interesting question. This is related to career misplacement and displacement. And this is coming from a point where you talked about relearning, reskilling, and retooling. But I'm thinking the corporate is also doing not good work in terms of not taking the young people as they may reskill, retool. We find organization, to give an example, where if a bank can take Form 4 leavers, take them into the system and train them to work for them, yet we have people here who have done, for example, become reskilled, retooled. How do we reduce the gap of career mismatch and the fact that the corporates are not also playing the role they are supposed to play as far as, how young people are, pushing themselves to align themselves into future employment opportunities?
Thank you. Allow me to respond to the 4. Then I take another set. We had said 2. If Elder allows, I'll take others. Let me start with your question on monetization of your skills. Monetization is to turn your skills into money. The other day I was driving behind a truck, these 24-wheelers. I saw something written behind there that kusoma si shida. Shida ni kugeuza masomo kukua pesa. I hope you are getting me. That is now monetization. Kugeuza masomo ikue pesa. Now, the best way you can be able to monetize your skills, first of all, is getting the relevant qualifications, certifications. And I want to tie it with what my brother has asked. Nowadays, I want to give you a secret. It's not enough to have a degree. You must come with soft skills. Are we together? Ukikuja hapa na degree peke yake and you don't have soft skills that are new, because some of the jobs you are talking of require soft skills of 1 year. You have a certification in digital marketing or business intelligence. So get the jobs that are trending. You can only monetize what is trending. Let me rephrase it this way. Many years ago, the Attorney General Emeritus once said this, and I quote, that you cannot resuscitate a back body to life. That in the history of the world, there is no known mortician who has resuscitated a dead body back to life. You cannot use skills that are outdated. Furthermore, when you look at the Central University Placement Report this year, in excess of 8,000 students declined to go to university. Do you know why? They did not make the wrong choice, and I'll justify it. Why go do a course that ultimately will lead to redundancy? Some of the courses, sorry if there are lecturers here, Higher Education Loans Board closed 20 courses, including some courses that are deep respect for. Agricultural engineering, economy, chemical engineering, and others, anthropology, because those courses did not attract any student. And I want to challenge you to read the Central University Placement Report. Are we together? The government has done a bit. There's something called Ajira now. they are doing. There was an intention to start coding in primary schools. And I want to challenge the young kids who sang here, tafadhali, as they close schools, they do coding. I'll tell you why. Recently, we had a competition that was held in Lyon. Lyon is a city in France. It is called the World Skills Competition. It is the equivalent to the Olympics of skills. Kenya sent 2 representatives and 6 officials. Mistake number 1, wrong strategy. The officials were more than the participants. While other nations deployed artificial intelligence, 3D printing, they were doing robotics, and many others, automation. Our good people in Kenya demonstrated two projects. One was brick making. Are you hearing? Mulisikia walifanya nini? Brick making. The other one was cooking, culinary skills. We were the laughing stock of the world. Nani aliona hiyo kitu kwa gazeti? You didn't see it. It was featured in CNN. Our Kenyan student anakanyaga ile machine ya makinga namna hii. Anatengeneza interlocking blocks. While his contemporaries from China and Japan were coming with vehicles that did not have a driver. Remoteless vehicles. What am I saying? Please, 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 as parents, and I'm very passionate about it. Sorry if I might touch nikukanyage vibaya. Please empower your students, your kids to be ahead of the competition. I feel sad mzazi akikuja kuniona ati unaweza saidia mtoto aingie kazi. Of course we want to help. But we want them to come with a competitive edge so that as you put this name forward, people will say he deserves this job. If we don't do so, we may fail. John Dewey, the respected education teacher in the US, said this, and I quote, "If we teach today's children using yesterday's teaching methods, we rob them of their future." Mumenisikia? What we are doing now, makinga blocks and those brick making things were things of the second industrial revolution. We need a paradigm shift. Sometimes they say that a kick in the teeth is what you need to wake up. So, to answer you and my brother, look at the job landscape. And I'll challenge you after you leave here today. Look at the World Economic Forum job landscape as per the year 2025. I'll give you my number because part of my mission to life is to give back to society. God has been so good to me. I am ready and willing. I'll hook you up with scholarships. I know you can do Python, you can do machine learning and others. We will be able to get about 5 students from Creta Church to get scholarships, and I'll take pastor's number. We are ready and willing to get these students to jumpstart this reskilling and retooling. Now, the issue of industries. What you may note, we are very slow adapters to technology, the industries in this country. It took COVID-19, despite it being a pandemic, it also had some benefits because it's the first time people started using Zoom, virtual communication. Before COVID, if you tell people to log in, they could not log in. And now, Zoom is the order of business. I don't know whether, Pastor, here you have Zoom meetings midweek. Even other places, when they have like stewardship week of prayer, there are Zoom meetings and YouTube. It has become the new norm. Now, I know, yes, companies are slow to adapt, but the other thing, as I said, what is coming out, the people who head these organizations are also resistant to change. That's one thing we've noted. You've been there for a long time, and when new technology comes that is not familiar with you, you are not comfortable adapting it. So it's a thing, the industry is slowly waking up to the new reality because it's business unusual. Let me come back to the question of customer-centric. For you to survive now, you must be customer-centric. What is customer-centric? You must personalize your relationship with the customer. I'm a member of ABSA, and when my birthday comes, the first people wananitumiaga birthday messages ni nani? Why do they do so? They cherish. They know I'm a valued client. When they have new products, I find a text message in my phone that you can now shop at Naivas for electronics that are 25% off. Use your card this weekend. Are we together? So, unless you make a unique identifier that cuts you differently from others, you'll not survive in this competitive world. Are we together? They must personalize your relationship. Even churches here now, that is where we are headed to. Okay? Birthday, tunakutumia message. You get a text message. By now, we should be thinking of having a repertoire of all emails of our members and cell phone numbers. Yeah. In other jurisdictions, I went to Netherlands last year and I attended church there. And I found out there are no announcements in church. When I asked, they told me, we have all cell phone numbers of members. Announcements were said to the Telegram group. Pole umekuja saizi, we will add your number. Are we together? Yes, they send messages elder to all members. Members know what is expected of them. Are we together? This is the new reality of the day. We must be alive to it. Bulk communication. So those are the things we need to do to make a difference. I want to end it there. Let me share with you my number. There's someone who asked me. My cell phone number is 0724 40 9619. My names are Gilbert Mogambi with an M-O, Osoro. Please don't feel tired reaching out to me. In the remaining years I have in my life, I said I will serve the Lord with what I know. What I know is new and emerging technologies, mentorship and coaching, and my primary focus is the youth. Unfortunately, I'm seeing many of them did not come, but I'm happy their parents are here. It is my hope and prayer that through the pastor, through elders, as you advised, we'll get an opportunity when we will speak to them, because it saddens my heart when I hear a youth has committed suicide. My heart bleeds, because we could have done something to save that life. The promises of Jeremiah 29:11 are real, and they are happening in this modern day and time. With those very many remarks, I humbly want to rest it there and hand over to elders by saying thank you for the church to accord this new opportunity. I don't take it for granted. I know you have a very busy schedule. In the fullness of time, we'll come back and talk to the youth. God bless you.